We're live, ladies and gentlemen, and we're very honored to have Gerald Celente, one of the top trends forecasters on the globe, with us for the next hour. He normally only can join us once a month because he's so busy doing international television and print interviews, but he's come back just after 2 weeks from the last visit because his prediction about Pakistani terror has come true. His prediction about massive riots intensifying that he made 2 years ago about Greece is now unfolding. His prediction about the plunging stock market is now unfolding. And another gentleman who's been right on target, Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster, he's joining us in 1 hour as well. Now, in the first hour, I did not get into what I believe went on yesterday, mainly because I'm still studying it. But I do agree with CNBC. Headline, that is ridiculous. This really sounds like market manipulation to me. 9 stocks simultaneously went down. This was not some fat finger. We know the plunge protection team manipulates the market. Now, was this Europe plunging and their markets being closed triggering this? Or was this insider trading, which we know the major trade commission, the groups that are over the stock exchanges, I mean, Madoff founded the NASDAQ. We know they're constantly involved in stuff like this, but they're getting really bold now if this is a premeditated fraud. We know they jacked the market back up almost 1,000 points in just minutes. That's never happened. It's never dropped 1,000 or been jacked up this fast. So we know there's manipulation. We know the story about fat fingers as a cover. But I don't know specifically yet exactly what happened. We know it's staged. We just don't know specifically why. We'll see if Gerald Celente and Bob Chapman do. Gerald Celente, good to have you here with us.
Hey, thanks.
Joining us via video Skype from New York State. Let's talk about what just happened with the stock market, then we'll get into Greece.
Well, it's the crash of 2010, as we had forecast at the beginning of this year. And what's happening is the stimulus money is running out worldwide, and any time that there's a trigger like Greece or something else, the market is going to decline. As you well pointed out, we know it's a rigged game. How it was rigged and who rigged it, well, that we'll never really get to the bottom of it. We never know the truth of those things. But I do believe that the market is unraveling, and what they did do yesterday is they came into and pulled out all the stops to jack it back up from not crashing. And they're going to do it for a number of days, and they're doing it globally. There's no stopping the meltdown. The markets collapsed, Alex, in March of 2009. What they did was they pumped them up with all of the stimulus money. It's as simple as that. It's all of Europe, the United States, the UK, India, China with its free lending policies and stimulus, Japan, South Korea. It's worldwide. Now it's running out. Just as we're seeing these phony unemployment numbers coming out, they're only juiced up by the stimulus money. When the stimulus runs out, the markets crash. The markets are now crashing now. So here's the game. The insider trading starts happening. The big guys start pulling it out because they know what's coming next. They jack it back up, and then they get the shills out there to say, listen, this is a good buying opportunity. The market is only going through a correction. We have a lot of fundamental strength in the economy, and they sucker the people back in. So anyone that thinks that this is going to be a market that's going to grow in strength deserves what they get.
All right, Gerald.
Current events form future trends. Look at gold prices. How much are they up right now, Alex?
They're up a lot. They're up 40-something bucks in the last 2 days. Gerald Celente, stay there. We're going to come right back to you after this break. I want you to recap and start over and go through your full prospectus of meltdown 2010 that you've been predicting for the last year and a half. Gerald Celente is our guest. Bob Chapman coming up as we cover every facet, saying that citizens can't wear American flags in public schools and kids being suspended. The illegal aliens in San Francisco then marched the students in their anger over anyone dare wear an American flag. This is the balkanization. We'll talk about that later. Gerald Celente, founder of the Trends Research Institute in 1980, He is a pioneer of trend strategy. He is the author of the national bestseller Trends 2000 and Trends Tracker. Warner Books, far better than Megatrends, is what the publisher of the internationally circulated Trends Journal newsletter. He's a political atheist. Gerald Celente is a political atheist, unencumbered by political dogma, rigid ideology, or conventional wisdom. Celente, whose motto is think for yourself, observes and analyzes the current events, forming trends, future trends for what they are, not for what he wants them to be. Like a doctor giving a diagnosis after gathering the facts, whether or not you like it, the prognosis doesn't alter the outcome. And we really appreciate him joining us. His website is trendsresearch.com. And I've got to say, he's probably, except for when we have somebody like Willie Nelson on or Jesse Ventura, the most popular guest that we have on this radio show, and we're very honored to have him. Okay, some stations just joined us, Gerald Celente. Break down with your info what happened with the market yesterday. You predicted 3 years ago the stock market plunge of 2008, a year and a half before, a year and a half after before what happened in Greece. You predicted it would start in Greece, Portugal, Spain. Now they're saying England has as big a debt ratio. So does the U.S. They're announcing a global implosion. The banks, we know, are engineering this and hijacking countries. So break down where you see this going and what's happening with the markets and the next shoe to drop.
Well, the next shoe to drop appears to be happening again in Europe. First of all, what's going on in Greece is going to explode into social unrest worldwide. The people are not going to take it. I love the white shoe boy language they use. The average person has to suffer through their austerity measures so they could bail out. Who is it that's holding the bonds? It's these huge hedge funds and banks. They can't give them, here's their language, a haircut. What do you mean you can't give them a haircut? Oh, no, they won't even get a trim. You have to cover the losses. In the United States, the people accept that a lot quicker than they do in Europe. The Europeans know the story, and they're not going to let it happen. The next shoe to fall, probably Spain, Portugal, then Italy. The UK is in terrible trouble. We're going to see sovereign defaults around the world. It's happened before, and it's happened again. Let's make this 100% clear. The only people that are getting bailed out are the two bigs. They're not allowed to lose any money, always under the guise that if we lose money, the whole world system will collapse. It's kind of like, Alex, did you hear President Obama recently when he addressed the Wall Street crowd a couple of weeks ago? He called them the titans of industry. What industry? They're not making cars. They're not producing steel or building railroads. The only thing they make are profits. And they're not titans of industry. You know who they are? They're bookies. Call it what it is. But they're super bookies. These are guys that not only are touts at the racetrack, they also field the horses. Thoroughbreds that are really nags. Credit default swap. Auction rate security. That's all they are. Synthetic credit default swaps. Special investment vehicles. The whole fraudulent system is collapsing, and the governments are going to crack down on the little people so they can pay off the gambling debts made by the big losses. Number two, as the markets collapse, what they're going to do, the big guys are going to bail out. As I have mentioned, what they'll say is that the markets are rebounding. I can't make this stuff up. As I said to you just several minutes earlier, they're going to say, this is a good buying opportunity. Well, between the time I said that and the break that happened to now, I just heard the clowns on CNBC say, it's a great buying opportunity to jump into the stock markets in Europe. Oh, yeah, it's a great opportunity to jump onto the Lusitania. It's going to have a lovely trip across the ocean. Anybody that buys into the markets or that buys into these lies deserves what they get.
Gerald, I'm just speechless here as you go over this. I mean, we have the Goldman Sachs internal emails. We have the J.P. Morgan internal info. They premeditatedly, going back 4 years ago, sold governments, sold pension funds, sold private individuals derivatives that they knew were worthless while they were preparing to bet against them. And in their own emails, they say this will destroy our competition, but the media is only focusing on the Timberwolf emails with Goldman Sachs when the others are far worse. And now they're announcing, don't worry, we're engaged in financial terrorism, give us unlimited trillions, and we'll bring back the good times. But then separately 2 weeks ago in the Washington Post, the head of the IMF bragged. He said, for rich nations, this was the headline, the good times are over. The party's over. You're not going to be able to retire.